few weeks ago, while you and I were having a conversation in one of my Saturday morning live shows, I told you we were going to get busy in the garden. And it's mid-February, early mid-February right now. Planting season's coming up soon here in Texas. I'm kind of in the garden today, working, looking at some things, trying to clean up. But I wanted to show you the difference initially right now between a Chaya plant that hated this winter, that was outside, and one that was in the greenhouse, and how it is a little more happy. Check this Chaya plant out. It got pretty nice and tall last year. It was a nice producing plant. But this winter, it just hated being outside. They don't do well in the freezing temperatures. There's still some hope that this plant will come up from the root. You can still look right there. Can you see that? How it's kind of green in there? So this plant is still alive, but this whole part just suffered from all that cold weather we had. Now let me show you a few that were moved into the greenhouse, and they liked this winter. They were a little more comfortable. The greenhouse is a mess, but it has some of my plants that I moved in for the winter. Some fig and some fruit trees, some moringa and lemon and aloe. Back in this corner are the Chaya plants, and you can see that they stayed nice and firm all the way up, and the tips are even still green. On the coldest of days, I had this little heater running. It's just a simple oil-filled heater. You can see around it are some lemon trees, and back here this is my little curry plant that I'm still waiting for it to grow up and show off a little bit. There's a couple of my moringa trees that I trimmed off, and they're going to start growing up pretty soon. You can see even right now there's some little red spots. That's what happens when they start to bud out in the springtime, and that'll grow some new plant. Over in this corner, I saved some of my blackberries that I intend to move out this year. I want to get all of those planted. And a whole lot of aloe that I'm just not sure what I'm going to do with yet. Outside the greenhouse, that we moved them out of the house. They were in the house for a while. There's some fig trees and lemon trees. Here's some fig. And also some more moringa over here. And there's that Chaya. Things are a bit of a mess. It's amazing how over a winter it feels like everything just gets all cluttered up and a mess. But we're going to work on cleaning it up. I have some friends coming over tomorrow, and we're going to redo some of these garden beds and try to get some things planted. Right now, I have some sweet potatoes that I want to see if I can get those to create some slips. Clean this tub up just a little bit because I'm going to use some of my coconut coir that I've been saving in the greenhouse for other projects, but those other projects never happen. So I'm just going to expand this coconut coir so we can grow our sweet potato slips. The coconut coir comes in a big dry compressed brick, and it needs expanded with water before it can be used. It won't break up. It's going to be more than this tub, but we're going to get it started. I've shown in other videos where using warm water works much faster for this coconut coir, in minutes really, and if you use cold water it can take hours to fully expand. I don't feel like going inside and heating up the water, so I'm just going to fill this tub up and let it slowly expand. We'll come back to that in a few hours and see if we can get these little sweet potatoes nicely tucked in for the next few weeks to see if they can produce some slips for us. But while we're here, you can take a look at these fodder radishes or daikon radishes. Look at those. Those look so good. They're going to start flowering real soon, and the bees are going to love that. This has been soaking for about an hour or so, and you can see that it's really soaked up a lot of water and it's getting crumbly. It's still a little firm and dry up here in the middle, but we'll get enough off of it right now to do what we need to do, because I don't need the whole block, and then we'll soak the rest of it to get more later. want to get that all crumbled up so it's all fluffy. I like fluffy soil mix. This is stuff that I like to put in soil mix a lot of times when I'm making seed starting mix or just a garden soil mix. The coconut coir doesn't have any nutritional value, but it holds water when it needs to. It also allows the soil to stay loose so that it drains off and doesn't hold too much water. Holds just enough. I've never started the slips on sweet potatoes in a mix like this. I just wanted to try it. I have a small handful of sweet potatoes here, and I just wanted to see how it would work if I sort of buried them a little bit in this coconut coir and kept it moist and put it in the greenhouse, just to see if it would give me some slips that I can plant in the garden for later. Each of these sweet potatoes were taken in the house earlier this year. They've dried out a little bit, but I think that they still have enough energy left in them to produce a little something. Maybe not all of them. This one right here might be too dried out, but who knows, maybe it'll do something if we just put it in here. I'm certainly not your sweet potato expert, so this is all an experiment for me. Someone, one of you out there, probably can give me some better tips how to, but I'm gonna just put this video out there, see what happens. I'm gonna take each of these sweet potatoes and just barely cover them right under the surface there. That's a nice one right there. I'm kind of laying them sideways because I don't know if they should go up or down. So I'm just kind of laying them sideways under this coconut coir. My goal is not to grow sweet potatoes in here, but to grow the slips, which is the green vines that come off. Yeah, that one's probably gone. But to grow the green vines that come off of them so that I can plant those in other places in the garden. That's a tub of sweet potatoes. It might do nothing, but it also might produce something that I can use for later. Either way, those little sweet potatoes that I had would have been barely a nibble in the kitchen, so I'm just gonna see if I can put them to work. I do know that the sweet potatoes need to be warm. The soil needs to be warm before they start producing, so I'm gonna put them in the greenhouse. I'm gonna clear a little spot over here on this side. Right there. There we go. Now my job is to not forget about these. I gotta keep it moist. Oh man, I need a bigger greenhouse. Or just a cleaner one. Now before I close this video, I'm gonna just snip this Chaya, trim it way down to the base. And later in the season, hopefully this plant bounces back and you'll be able to see, wow, that one's kind of thick. You'll be able to see what it looks like when it starts coming back after it freezes in the winter. And there we have it. That's one frozen Chaya that was trimmed almost all the way to the ground. I truly do believe that everyone has a story and every story counts. I share my story online to educate and entertain, but mostly just to encourage you and to become a part of your story. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching this episode. I hope this garden works out. I'll talk to you soon.